Hello, hello. I am DeAnna McIntosh. I am the Executive Director at Diversify Retail Inc., a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to increasing minority representation in the retail industry. I'm so excited to talk to you today about 3 ways to create and maintain diversity in your store. I just want to level set this conversation and let you know that if diversity and inclusion and equity for all is something that you believe in, something that's a part of your value system, something that you're actively trying to achieve, this conversation's for you. Okay, so let's talk about where we are today in the retail industry versus where we were a year ago. A year ago, George Floyd was murdered. And immediately following, we saw an outpouring of support for Black-owned businesses. We saw retailers, big and small, brands, big and small, taking pledges to commit to carrying Black-owned brands, creating mentorship programs, creating grants. Everyone seemed to be on board to support Black-owned businesses. Well, let's fast forward to today. Where are we? A lot of the same companies who made these statements or commitments last year have backed away from them a bit. We have seen the talk about diversity and inclusion still being out there, but it's starting to wind down, which is unfortunate. We see that there have been a lot of performative actions that happened and just still not enough solutions to move the industry forward. Well, that's where this conversation comes in. That's where our organization, Diversify Retail, comes in, because we have a long ways to go. Not denying that. But it's up to us to create the change in the industry that we so desperately need. With me having worked in the past inside of some big corporate retailers, I understand the office politics and the levels and layers of people that you have to go through to get things done. I get that. But truly, if diversity and inclusion and equity for all is something that the company stands for or will now stand for, they must stop at nothing to get rid of this toxic culture that they have. And if you're a small business, I have some great news for you. You hold the power today, right now, as we speak and listen. You hold the power to turn your organization around right now. You don't have the office politics to deal with and all of the nuances of being a big organization with many chains of command. It's you, the business owner, the leader, the buyer. You drive the change. So it's just so empowering. And I want you to feel empowered today that absolutely after this conversation, you can have a new path forward for your store. Now, here are 3 ways to create and maintain diversity in your store. Number 1, make it plain and make it clear that diversity and inclusion is something you stand for. Make it plain and clear that you support it, that you welcome it, and you will not accept anything less than it. And even deeper than just accepting it, but welcoming it. It's one thing to say or see that, yes, there are diverse people represented in your store, in your company. But it's another thing for those people to actually feel welcome. That's where the inclusion part comes in, right? So you just want to make it plain, simple, clear. This is something we stand for. We are going to chase after it at any cost. Everywhere your company shows up, diversity should too. Your website, your social media pages, your product pages, your photo shoots, the products that you carry in your store. Diversity should be woven into everything that you do. Now, if your company doesn't look like this currently from the outside, so to the public, you fix that. You can go ahead and fix that now as you tweak the inside of your organization at the same time. One major thing you can do is review all of the companies that you do business with that are public facing. So think about it this way. The influencers you partner with, the models that you hire. Now let's think even deeper. The social media team that you hired, are they diverse? Do they bring diverse voices and perspective to your posts? Will they be the ones that can help you foster a more welcoming environment and to make sure that you don't make any cultural mishaps as we have seen in the past, right? Think of it this way. When you see a diversity and inclusion team at a company and none of the members of that team are of the diverse population, you scratch your head and you're like, well, duh, that's why they're so out of touch, or that's why they're not resonating. That's why, and so forth and so on. Well, it works the same way in your business. If you don't have diverse voices and diverse talent in your store, well, it can be easy for you to forget about diversity or not to think about it. And it could be unconscious, right? Because you aren't living it every day like they are. So that's why it's even more important to make sure that you're fostering that community and that you have these diverse voices and talent inside of your store. By including diverse voices, it brings a richness to your company that you wouldn't otherwise have. They also bring insight to their culture that you need to ensure that your diversity efforts never feel like tokenism or that you're being disingenuous. So the same way that you've made the commitment to diversity, the companies you do business with need to have also made those same commitments so that you guys are aligned in everything that you do. And you'll see that it becomes that much easier to maintain diversity. It needs to be an ongoing priority for you both, something that you can hold each other accountable for. Number 2 is that you need to proactively seek out brands from diverse founders. I admit that since they don't have a large presence, a very limited presence, at trade shows, it can be difficult to find them. However, what we have seen in the last year are the zillions of lists that are out there of businesses to support. Take advantage of that. Look through them. Reach out to some of those businesses. Look on Instagram for hashtags such as BIPOC makers or hashtag Black owned, and you can find some really unique products by diverse founders. So yes, it will take a bit of extra effort for you to find these brands, but it will be so worth it. They will bring such unique flavor and culture to your business and new customers. We at Diversify Retail have something really exciting to help you in this vein that we will be announcing really soon. So stay tuned for that. The exciting thing is that there are so many hidden gems just waiting to be found. So just look around, talk to the team at Atlanta Apparel to see what diverse brands they have for you to shop from as well. You have an amazing, groundbreaking opportunity to be one of the first retailers to carry some of these brands at wholesale and also build a lasting partnership. So to ensure that you're maintaining diversity in your brand founders, you want to just make sure that you clearly outline in your buying budget every single time that you buy how much of it is being allocated towards those brands. Make sure that they always have a place in your buying budget. This way, it will never be an afterthought. Number 3 is to partner and donate to organizations who are outside of you, who are unbiased, and that can provide you resources ongoing on how to create and maintain diversity. Organizations like Diversify Retail, for example. It can be so easy to operate your business heads down and just become so consumed in the nitty-gritty of everything that you lose sight of your high-level overarching goals for your company, such as increasing diversity. When you partner with an organization that can support you in your initiatives, you're making sure that it stays top of mind. You then have a committed partner who can remind you of what your commitment was and to make sure that whenever you need support, they're there. I want to challenge you today to start a conversation with someone who doesn't look like you. If you know me, you know I say this often because that's where this starts. That's where the change starts, is having conversations like the one that we're having right now, but the ones that you have in private, because one small conversation can make a ripple of a difference in the industry, in your life, in the world. So just have one conversation with someone who doesn't look like you. And I also want to thank Atlanta Apparel for making sure that this conversation about diversity in retail truly never becomes an afterthought, and that we continue to chase after this until we see the change that retail so desperately needs. I just want to thank you so much for being here today. And if you have any questions or comments, please share them with me. I'd love to chat. You can find me on social media at DeAnna J. McIntosh on all channels and Diversify Retail on all channels.